Haribo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jala Shalakaya. Tasmai Shri Guru Shri Yamanishtam Tapitam Yena Ayam Rupam Kadama Parantikam Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagaram Sahagana Raguna Vitam Sadvaitam Navam Jam Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalitam Shri Vitam Kampitam Scha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radakanta Namastute Tap Tap Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutu Devi Pranamari Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shrivasadi Gautam Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare.
Haribo. Thank you so much. Oh, what the Prabhu said today cannot come.
Yeah, everyone has the nectar of, what do you call this, Prabhu? The Q&A.
Yes, Prabhu. Where is the Bhagavad Gita? Haribo. Okay, who wants to do the scrolling? Bilabang Prabhu.
Prabhu, how do I do this calling with a phone? I'm using a phone.
Is anyone on the computer? Maybe not. I think in modern times, no one has computer.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, let's try.
Shrikant Prabhu is using a laptop.
Oh, is he? Prabhu, can you do the scrolling? Let's see. Oh, Haribo. Okay, who wants to read the first verse? I think this is this is chapter 6, text number 32.
Prabhu, can
No,
I?
Prabhu, I will read. Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, can I read?
Yes, Prabhu. Anyone can start.
Atma pamyena sarvatra samam pasyati yo arjuna sukham va yadi va dukham sayogi paramo mata. Synonyms: Atma, self. Opamyena, by comparison. Sarvatra, everywhere. Samam, equality. Pasyati, is. Ya, he who. Arjuna, O Arjuna. Sukham, happiness. Va, or. Yadi, if. Va, or. Dukham, distress. Sa, such. Yogi, transcendentalist. Parama, perfect. Mata, considered. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
He is a perfect yogi who, by comparison to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings both in their happiness and distress, O Arjuna. Purport. One who is Krishna conscious is a perfect yogi. He is aware of everyone's happiness and distress by dint of his own personal experience. The cause of the distress of the living entity is the forgetfulness of his relationship with God, and the cause of happiness is knowing Krishna to be the supreme enjoyer of all the activities of the human being. Krishna, writer of all lands and planets. The perfect yogi is the sincerest friend of all living entities. He knows that the living conditioned by the modes of material nature is subjected to the threefold miseries due to forgetfulness of his relationship with Krishna. Because one in Krishna consciousness is happy, he tries to distribute the knowledge of Krishna everywhere. Since the perfect yogi tries to broadcast the importance of becoming Krishna conscious, he is the best philanthropist in the world, and he is the dearest servitor of the Lord. Natasmat kasit me priyakritama. In other words, a devotee of the Lord always looks to the welfare of all living entities, and in this way he is actually the friend of everyone. He is the best yogi because he does not desire perfection in yoga for his personal benefit, but tries for others also. He does not envy his fellow living entities. There is a contrast between a pure devotee of the Lord and a yogi interested only in his personal elevation. The yogi who has withdrawn to a secluded place in order to meditate perfectly may not be as perfect as a devotee who is trying his best to turn every man toward Krishna consciousness. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare
Next,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Pranjal Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Parendra Prabhu. Okay,
Thank you,
finally
Prabhu.
Pranjal Prabhu has arrived. So you can scroll, Prabhu. Who wants to read next? Oh, Prabhu, you closed it. 1 second. You closed our book. Okay, who wants to read?
Prabhu, can I?
Yes, Prabhu.
अर्जुन उवाच योऽयं योगस्त्वा प्रोक्तः सम्येन मधुसूदन इत्यासायं न पश्यमि चञ्चला चञ्चलावत स्थितिं स्थिराम्. Synonyms: Arjuna Uvacha. Arjuna said, yeah, the system I am, this yoga, mysticism, Tvaya by you, Proktaha described, Samyena generally, Madhusudana, O killer of the demon, Madhu, Estya of these. Aham, I, Na, do not, Paschami, see, Chanchalavatat, due to being restless, Sthitim, situation, Sthiram, stable. Translation: Arjuna said, O Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and endurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. Purport: the system of mysticism described by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, beginning with the words Suchau Deshe and ending with Yogi Parama, is here, being rejected by Arjuna out of a feeling of inability. It is not possible for an ordinary man to leave home and go to a secluded place in the mountains or jungles. To practice yoga in this age of Kali, the present age is characterized by bitter struggle for a life of short duration. People are not serious about self-realization even by simple, practical means, and what to speak of this difficult yoga. System which regulates the mode of living, the manner of sitting, selection of place, and detachment of the mind from material engagements. As a practical man, Arjuna thought it was impossible to follow this system of yoga. Even though he was favorably endowed in many ways, he belonged to the royal family and was highly elevated in terms of numerous qualities. He was a great warrior, he had a great longevity, and, above all, he was the most intimate friend of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 5,000 years ago, Arjuna had much better facilities than we do now. Yet he refused to accept this system of yoga. In fact, we do not find any record in the history of this practicing it at any time. Therefore, this system must be generally impossible considered generally impossible in this age of Kali. Of course, it may be possible in some very few rare men, but for the people in generally, it is an impossible proposal. If this were so 5,000 years ago, then what of the present day? Those who are imitating this yoga system in different so-called school and societies, although complacent, are certainly wasting their time. They are completely in ignorance of the desired goal. चंचलं हि मनः कृष्ण परमातिबलवत् दृढं तस्याहं निग्रहं मन्ये वयोरिवासु दुष्करम्. Synonyms: chanchalam, flickering, high, he, certainly, mana, mind, Krishna, oh Krishna, pramati, agitating, balavat, strong, dridham, obstinate, tasya, its, aham, I, nigraham, subduing, manye, think, vayo, of the wind, iva, like suduskaram, difficult. Translation: for the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it seems to me more difficult than controlling the wind. Purport: the mind is so strong and obstinate that it sometimes overcomes the intelligence, although mind is supposed to be subservient to the intelligence. For a man in the practical world who has to fight so many opposing elements, it is certainly very difficult to control the mind. Artificially, one may establish a mental equilibrium toward both friend and enemy, but ultimately no worldly man can do so, for this is more difficult than controlling the raging wind. In the Vedic literatures, it is said, आत्मानं रथिनां विधि शरीरं राथम् एव च बुद्धिं तु सारथिं विधि मनः प्रग्रहणम् एव च इन्द्रियाणि हयानुर्विश्यं स तेषु गोचरन् आत्मेन्द्रियमनुयुक्तो भोक्तेति आहुर्मनीषिणः. The individual is the passenger in the car of the vehicle of the material body, and the intelligence is the driver. Mind is the driving instrument, and the senses are the horses. The self is thus the injured or sufferer in the association of the mind and senses. So it is understood by great thinkers, intelligence is supposed to direct the mind, but the mind is so strong and obstinate that it often overcomes even one's own intelligence. Such a strong mind is supposed to be controlled by the practice of yoga, but such practice is never practical for a worldly person like Arjuna, and what we can say of modern man. The simile used here is appropriate. One cannot capture the blowing wind, and it is even more difficult to capture the turbulent mind. The easiest way to control mind, as suggested by Lord Chaitanya, is chanting Hare Krishna, the great mantra for deliverance, in all humility. The method prescribed is Sa Vai Mana Krishna Padarvindayo. One must engage one's mind fully in Krishna, only then will there remain no other engagements to agitate the mind.
Haribol, thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, who wants to read next? Maybe Lebahang Prabhu.
Oh, yes, Prabhu. Just a minute. Okay, yes, Prabhu. It's chapter 6, verse 35.
Yes, Prabhu.
Shri Bhavan Uvacha Asaya Sayam. Is it Asa? How do you pronounce that one, Prabhu? Asam Sayam. Mahabahu. Manodurni Kraham Chalam. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vaira gena cha grahayate. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, the personality of Godhead said, Asam Sayam, undoubtedly, Mahabahu, Almighty Armed One, Manaham, mind, Durnigraham, difficult to curb, Chalam, flickering, Abhayasena, by practice, too, but Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, Vairagyenam, by detachment, cha also grahayate can be so controlled. Translation: The blessed Lord said, Almighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by constant practice and by detachment. Purport by His Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The difficulty of controlling the obstinate mind, as expressed by Arjuna, is accepted by the personality of Godhead. But at the same time, he suggests that by practice and detachment, it is possible. What is that practice? In the present age, no one can observe strict rules and regulations, such as placing oneself in a sacred place, focusing the mind on the super soul, restraining the senses and mind. On the super soul, the mind on the super soul. Oh, actually, I'm here. Observing celibacy, remaining alone, etc. By the practice of Krishna consciousness, however, one engages in 9 types of devotional service to the Lord. The first and foremost of such devotional engagements is hearing about Krishna. This is a very powerful transcendental method for purging the mind. The more one hears about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and detached from everything that draws the mind away from Krishna. By detaching the mind from activities not devoted to the Lord, one can very easily learn vairagya. Vairagya means detachment from matter and engagement of the mind. In spirit, in personal spiritual detachment is more difficult than aligning mind to the activities of Krishna. This is practical because by hearing about Krishna, one becomes automatically attached to the Supreme Spirit. This attachment is called paresanubhuti, spiritual satisfaction. It is just like the feeling of satisfaction a hungry man has for every morsel of food he eats. Similarly, by discharge of devotional service, one feels transcendental satisfaction as the mind becomes detached from material objectives. It is something like curing a disease by expert treatment and appropriate diet. Hearing of the transcendental activities of the Lord is therefore expect treatment for the mad mind, and eating the foodstuffs offered to Krishna is the appropriate diet for the suffering patient. This treatment is the process of Krishna consciousness. Haribo.
I can read, Prabhu.
Haribol. Yes, Prabhu. Please read. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Asamyatat asam asamyatatmana yogo dushrapa iti me matihi vasyatmana tu yatata shakyo vaptumupayatah. Synonyms: asamyata, unbridled; atmana, by the mind; yoga, self-realization; dusprapah, difficult to obtain; iti, thus. One more, Prabhu. There is a Connection problem. 1 minute. Hare Krishna. Can you hear me, Prabhu? Iti, thus, may, mind. Matihi, opinion. Vashya, controlled. Atmana, by the mind. Tu, but. Yatata, while endeavoring. Shakyah, practical. Avaptum, to achieve. Upayatah, appropriate means. Translation. For one whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult work. But he whose mind is controlled and who strives by right means is assured of success. That is my opinion. What is unbridled and is taking Prabhu? Oh, uncontrolled. Okay. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead declares that one who does not accept the proper treatment to detach the mind from material engagement can hardly achieve success in self-realization. Trying to practice yoga while engaging the mind in material attached enjoyment is like trying to ignite a fire while pouring water in it. Similarly, yoga practice without mental control is a waste of time. Such a show of yoga practice may be materially lucrative, but it is useless as far as spiritual realization is concerned. Therefore, the mind must be controlled by engaging it constantly in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Unless one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, he cannot steadily control the mind. A Krishna conscious person easily achieves the result of yoga practice without separate endeavor, but a yoga practitioner cannot achieve success without becoming Krishna conscious. Arjuna Vacha अयति हि श्रद्धया पेतो योगाचलितमानसः अप्राप्य योगसंसिद्धिं कां गतिं कृष्ण गच्छति. Arjuna Vacha, Arjuna Vacha, Arjuna said, Ayati hi, unsuccessful transcendentalist. Shraddhaya, with faith. Vipetaha, engaged. Yogat, from the mystic link. Charita, deviated. Manashaha, of one who has such a mind. Aprapya, feeling. Yoga samsiddhin, highest perfection in mysticism. Calm, which. Gatim, destination. Krishna, O Krishna. Gachati, achieves. Translation. Arjuna said, what is the destination of the man of faith who does not persevere, who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism? Perfect. The path of self-realization or mysticism is described in the Bhagavad Gita. The basic principle of self-realization is knowledge that the living entity is not this material body, but he is different from it, and his happiness is an eternal life, bliss, and knowledge. These are transcendental beyond both my body and mind. Self-realization is sought by the path of knowledge, the practice of the eightfold yoga system, or by bhakti yoga. In each of these processes, one has to realize the constitutional position of the living entity. This relationship with God and the activities whereby he can re-establish the lost link and achieve the highest perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness. Following any of the above mentioned three methods, one is sure to reach the supreme goal sooner or later. This was asserted by the Lord in the second chapter. Even a little endeavor on the transcendental path offers a great hope for deliverance. Out of these three methods, the path of Bhakti Yoga is especially suitable for this age because it is the most direct method of God realization. To be doubly assured, Arjuna is asking Lord Krishna to confirm his former statement. One may sincerely accept the path of self-realization, but the process of cultivation of knowledge and the practice of the Eightfold Yoga system are generally very difficult for this age. Therefore, despite constant endeavor, one may fail for many reasons. First of all, one may not be following the process. To pursue the transcendental path is more or less to declare war on illusory energy. Consequently, whenever a person tries to escape the clutches of the illusory energy, she tries to defeat the practitioner by various allurements. A conditioned soul is already allured by the modes of the material energy, and there is every chance of being allured again, even while performing transcendental disciplines. This is called yogat chalita manashaha, deviation from the transcendental path. Arjuna is inquisitive to know the results of deviation from the path of self-realization. Very good. Thank you, Prabhu.
Haribol. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, who will read next? I think, did Kunal Prabhu read yet? Maybe you can read, Prabhu. Or Pranjal Prabhu.
No, Prabhu. Pranjal will read in Christmas only, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Keleban Prabhu, you want to read the second one?
Yeah, of the Sanskrit.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Kachinno Vibarashatas Baram Iva Nasyati Aparatisto Mahabahu. A great word. Vimudo Brahmanaha Pati. Kachit, whether not both Vibarashta deviated from China. China fallen Abaharam cloud Iva likened Nasyatin perishes Aparatishtaha without any position Mahabahu almighty armed Krishna Vimudaha bewildered Brahmanaha of transcendence Patihi on their path. Translation: Almighty armed Krishna, does not such a man being deviated from the path of transcendence perish like a river cloud with no position in any sphere? Purport by His Divine Graces, Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. There are two ways to progress. Those who are materialists have no transcendence. Therefore, they are more interested in material advancement by economic development or in progress planets by appropriate way. One has to seize all material and sacrifice all forms of material happiness. If the aspiring transcendentalist fails, then he apparently loses both ways. In other words, he can enjoy neither material happiness nor spiritual success. He has no position. He is like a river cloud. A cloud in the sky sometimes deviates from a small cloud and joins a big one. But if it cannot join a big one, then it is blown away by the wind and becomes a non-entity in the vast sky. The Brahmanahapati is the path of transcendental realization. Through knowing oneself to be spiritual in essence, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, who is manifested as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Lord Sri Krishna is the fullest manifestations of the Supreme Absolute Truth. And therefore, one who is surrendered to the Supreme Person is a successful transcendentalist. To reach this goal of life through Brahman and Paramatma realization takes many, many births. Bahunam, Janmanam, Ante. And therefore, the supermost of transcendental realization is Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness, the direct method. Haribo.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Harshit Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Harshit Prabhu, please accept humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you for joining, Prabhu. Prabhu, you want to read the last verse?
Sure, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Haribol.
Itan me samshayam Krishna chetan arasi asheshata tvad anya samsayasya chetana hayupapadyate. That this is me, my samshayam doubt. Krishna, O Krishna, chetan to dispel arhasi, requested to do. Asheshta completely, tvat yourself, anya without, samsayasya of the doubt, asya of this, chetta remover, na never, I, he certainly, upapadyate to be found. Translation: This is my doubt of Krishna and I ask you to dispel it completely, but for yourself, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. Purport: Krishna is the perfect knower of the past, present, and future. In the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord said that all living entities exist individually in the past, that they exist now in the present, and that they continue to retain individual identity in the future. Even after liberation from the material entanglement, so he has already cleared up the question of the future of the individual living entity. Now Arjuna wants to know of the future of the unsuccessful transcendentalist. No one is equal to or above Krishna, and certainly the so-called great sages and philosophers who are at the mercy of material nature cannot equal him. Therefore, the verdict of Krishna is the final and complete answer to the all doubts because he knows past, present, and future perfectly. But no one knows him. Krishna and Krishna conscious devotees alone can know what is what. Hare Krishna. All glories to Radha.
Haribol. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, now we need to go to Siksastakam prayers.
By Sanatana Goswami. Therein, Srila Sanatana Goswami gives the following
Hare Krishna, Jat Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Haribol, 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 Haribol. Hare Krishna Bhaktajat Prabhu, please accept noble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Bhakta Jagannath ki jai.
Yeah.
Debong Prabhu, you finally changed your username. Haribol.
Yes, but could not remove the S. I don't know why. My name Prabhu.
Now it is best, Prabhu. Haribol.
Haribo. How's the temple, Prabhu? How are you doing distribution? How is Mangala Aarti?
Maybe you're in the middle of the reading session. We should not speak about that. Am I correct?
Yeah, but then ending, Prabhu, we are going to Shri Shastaka.
So Sikshastaka first, Prabhu. Okay?
Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamahadavagninirvapanam shreyah kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamritasvadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam.
Nam Namakari Bahuda Nijas Tadrarpitanyamita Smaranena Kalaha Eta Trishita Vagripan Bhagavan Mamapi Turdaiva Metrisham Ehajina Nuragraha Trinadapi Sunichena Taro Api Saheshnuna Amanina Manadina Kirtaniya Sadahari.
नदनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवताद्भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि
Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddho Kripaya Tavapada Pankaja Stita Duli Satrisham Vichintaya. Nayanam Galata Shrudaraya Vadanam Gatgata Rudaya Gira Pulakairina Chitam Vapuka Pravanamagrahane Bhavishyati.
युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्राविर्ष्यायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे
Asisleva Padaratam Pinastumam Adarshanam Marmam Hatam Karotuva Yata Tatava Vidatulan Pato Matanana Tastusa Evanar Panaha.
Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benedictions to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, breath after breath.
O son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna,
O
I am your
Son
eternal.
of Maharaj,
Oh, yes.
Nityananda Krishna, I am your eternal
Reborn. When will my eyes be decorated? Oh my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
O Govinda, feeling your separations, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Haribol, Shri Siksastakam ki jai. Okay, 10 offenses to the holy name. First offense, to blaspheme
To
to the
blaspheme the
by dedicating their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord.
to consider the names of the demigods like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the names of the Lord Vishnu. To disobey the orders of the spiritual master, thinking him as an ordinary person. To test the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in pursuance to the Vedic version.
Consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination.
To give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord.
To commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name.
To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma.
To instruct the
To
faithless
instruct a person
of the holy
about the
name.
glories of holy name.
Hare Krishna, Mit Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, you can read the last one.
Hare Krishna, may Prabhu please accept number obeisances of glories to Srila Prabhupada.
To not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prem.
Prabhu. Let us offer humble obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who are just like the desired trees who can fulfill all desires and are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha
पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः
Prabhupada ki jai Nitai Gaura Premanande. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Jai Prabhu ki jai.
Prabhu, we are done. We are done waiting for your